Hey guys, it's Aislinn, and in today's video, we're going to be dyeing these front pieces neon rainbow, and we're going to be doing the prismatic technique. This is going to be really hard. I've never done the prismatic technique on hair that's this long. I also have sewn extensions, which make this process so much harder. Obviously, they're sewn to my head, so over-directing them a certain way is going to be very, very challenging. I also have a few extensions I have to dye, so obviously with sew-ins, you can't like sew all the way up here. I mean, you can, but it's gonna like poke through more. I have some extensions, and I have these little one-clip Bellamy extensions, so I'm gonna dye these so that way I can fill in this area right here with a couple clip-ins, so that way it's a little bit thicker. So I have 4 of these we have to dye, as well as all the rest of my hair. Doing the prismatic technique with rainbow hair is so difficult. Like, it's the hardest method for rainbow hair you can possibly do, especially because when you do it, you have to over direct. So you're over directing everything in front of your face. It's a lot easier to do this on someone else, but when you're doing it on yourself, all your hair is in front of your face the whole time you're doing it, and it's very exhausting. Your arms are up here, so your arms get tired. It's a whole process, so send me good thoughts and vibes. Let's run through the colors we're using today. Here are what they look like in the bowls. They are absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't have mixed up any better colors. Let me run through these and I'll tell you what I used for each color. I will leave a link to all the colors I use in the description down below. I do have a coupon code for Manic Panic and Lunar Tides, so if you're gonna buy from either of those companies, make sure to save yourself some money and get you a discount. For the pink, I did Neon Dragon Fruit from Lunar Tides with some Hot Hot Pink from Manic Panic. Love Manic Panic Hot Hot Pink, literally my favorite pink shade ever. For my orange, I used the Chi Chroma Paint in the shade Mango Tango. I just tried these on my channel. I'll leave a link to the video up here in case you haven't seen it, but this orange was so pretty I could not pass up using it. Then I mixed that with some Neon Tangerine from Lunar Tides and some Psychedelic Sunset from Manic Panic. For the yellow, I also went in with the Chi Hello Yellow. I loved this shade. It also came out of the hair like this, like so quick, so easily. So I used a lot of that. Then I mixed it in with Lunar Tides Neon Lemon and Manic Panic Electric Banana. For the green, I used Lunar Tides Neon Lime and Manic Panic Electric Lizard. For the blue, I mixed up Manic Panic Atomic Turquoise with Lunar Tides Cyan Sky, and then I diluted that just a little bit with some Lunar White from Lunar Tides. For the purple, I used Lunar Tides Plum Purple with a bunch of Manic Panic Electric Amethyst, and then I mixed in half of a container of the Manic Panic Velvet Violet just to lighten it up a little bit. Let me swatch these real quick on a paper towel so you guys can see what they look like. Here are the shades. Honestly, they are so pretty. I cannot wait to put these on my hair. That purple, honestly, might be my favorite color out of all of them. The purple and the orange. Oh yeah, absolutely stunning. Let's go ahead and start applying this. I already have the blonde pieces sectioned off, and hi, yeah, I dyed my hair black in the last video, so if you missed that, I'll leave a link to that right up here. And no, I did not use semi-permanent. I used the big girl black. You know what I'm saying? I went balls to the walls, baby. So make sure to check out that video. It was exhausting, but I did it. Let's go ahead and start applying this. Throughout this process, I will probably not be talking because it's really difficult for me to see what I'm doing, concentrate, and talk. You guys know when I do rainbow hair, it's really hard for me. So I'll probably do a voiceover because again, it's so hard for me to talk, especially when I have something that's in my face. I have to like lift it in order to like see you guys and talk. So I'll probably do a voiceover explaining how to do the prism hair. So I'm gonna start by sectioning off my hair, and I'm gonna do it in 3 sections. I'm gonna do the top mohawk, and then I'm gonna do the 2 side pieces. Again, this is a lot easier to do on yourself. So I'm going to start with the top mohawk section, and I want pink to be at the front of my face. So I'm just going to apply pink at the root. Then I'm going to work my way through the rainbow colors, applying one right after the other. Like I said earlier, this is the hardest rainbow technique I've ever done, and it's a lot harder to do on yourselves. Some things that make it easier: if you go for a brand of dye that is a little bit thinner, it's going to make application a lot easier. together, it's going to penetrate the hair easier. The colors are going to blend together better. If you choose something that's a little bit thicker and more conditioning, it makes it a lot harder to saturate, and you wind up having little blonde pieces throughout the rainbow prism piece, and it kind of like ruins the effect. So as you can see here, after I get done applying the colors and just repeating one after the other, I like to take my fingers and blend the colors together. If you want more of a sharp prismatic effect, you don't have to blend them together. I blend them together because I want to make sure I have everything saturated and I'm not leaving any white spots in between the two colors I'm blending together. I also like to apply more yellow than any other color. I feel like the yellow can easily get washed out by the orange or by the green. Sometimes the orange will bleed on the yellow, or the green or blue will bleed on the yellow and kind of wash it out, and there's not much yellow left. So I find that applying a thicker area of yellow, it lasts longer and you're able to see it better in the end results. So once I pull down the first two sections, once I pull down the third section, I start with a different color at my root. So because I'm going in rainbow order, the next section I pull down, I'm going to start with purple at my root. If you wanted your root area to be rainbow from pink all the way to purple, then you would start with pink at your root, and then instead of applying orange underneath the pink, you would have applied purple and then worked your way down the rainbow spectrum that way. But I wanted purple into blue, into green, into yellow at my root area. So I went ahead and started with pink, and then the next color I applied at my root area is purple. I hope that makes sense. This whole technique is very confusing, but basically how you apply the colors is going to affect what color you're going to put next at your root. So like I said, I decided I wanted purple after the pink. If you wanted orange at the root next, then you would have applied purple where the orange band is. I really hope that makes sense. It's very hard to explain. A couple other things you can do to make this process easier: make sure to take really thin sections. You want your sections to be thin enough to where you can see the previous color that was applied on the previous section. If your hair is white and you cannot see the color that you just put underneath of it, take a smaller section. It's going to make saturation a lot easier. When you're doing all over color, you don't have to take that small of sections because you're working the color in, you're rubbing it in between your hands, and you're really working the color in. But because I'm not picking up this piece of strand and blending the colors together, you want to make sure to take thin sections so that way it gets saturated a lot easier and you don't have to work as hard, and you're not going to have little blonde patches throughout your hair, and it's not going to ruin the rainbow effect. The other thing I suggest is smushing down each section. So when you go to bring down your new section, you're going to want to smush it on top of the previous section. That way it kind of sticks to the previous section and it's not moving around. If you don't smush it down and you just bring it down, it will slide all over the place, and the ends will come up into the color, and you'll wind up getting like blue on your ends when yellow was supposed to be there, and you can get little bleed marks and splotches if you don't smush the next section down. So that's something that I learned that helps a lot. Also, if you're going to try this at home, I suggest having 2 mirrors because you're obviously over directing the hair to be right in front of your face. It is a lot harder to see what you're doing. So you guys can't see it, but I have a mirror set up on the right hand side and the left hand side, and they're just small circular mirrors, but that way I don't have to strain my eyes to see what I'm doing. I can just turn my head, look at the right, turn my head, look at the left mirror, and I'm able to see both sides of my head evenly, and I don't have to work as hard to see what I'm doing. So having 2 mirrors and going back between them really helps. You'll see me turning my head one way and then turning my head another way. Obviously, like I said, you don't have to blend the colors together. Personally, I like the color blend in between one color into the next. So for instance, where the yellow and that lime green meet, I like bringing that blue up into that neon green just to have like an in-between color. So obviously if you're mixing the pink and the orange, there's going to be a little in-between color where those two colors meet, and it's going to be almost like a reddish pink. Same thing with the blue and with the green. If I bring the blue up and I merge those colors together, it's going to go from yellow to neon green to a little bit of a darker neon green into that blue. And then the blue goes into like an indigo and then into a purple. I personally like the blend, but like I said, if you want more like sharp, prismatic, precise lines, then you just go across and you don't blend them together. Once I have that top section done, I'm moving on to the sides. Now the sides of the head are so much harder than the top. You would think the top is harder because the foil's right in front of your face, but the sides are actually a lot harder because it's way more difficult to over direct the hair in front of your face. Honestly, ideally, you would want to direct these two side parts to the back of your head, but obviously there's no way that I can possibly pull these long pieces of hair towards the back of my head and then apply the color. So my only option was to pull it forward so that way I could see what I'm doing. But if you're doing this on someone else, for those two side pieces, I recommend pulling the hair backwards and over directing it back instead of over directing it forward. It's going to give you way more of that prismatic effect. You can see here, it's not really pulled forward very much. It's kind of down at an angle. The whole goal of this is to over direct the hair in a position where it does not normally lay. So obviously these two side pieces normally lay straight down vertically. So you want to over direct those in a different position than they normally lay. So that way you see more of that prismatic effect when your hair goes back to its natural position where it lays. If you're going to do this, I suggest eating and drinking before you start because it is a very long process and you need a lot of patience because it is difficult. Alright you guys, I just got done applying the color. I have to be quiet because I have neighbors on the other side of this wall, but it's done and it looks awesome. It's 11:30 at night, so I'm trying to be quiet. I have a bunch of dye left over. I'm going to try and get empty containers to save. I'm going to let this sit around an hour, rinse this out at like 12:30 at night, and then maybe I'll end the video tonight, but I might end it tomorrow just because like I don't want to be loud. Like I feel bad. I feel like I'm gonna wake up my neighbors, so like I'm trying to be quiet. But yeah, I'll either show you guys the results tonight or tomorrow. I'm gonna let this sit, like I said, an hour and rinse it using cold water so that way the colors don't bleed on each other. I'm a little nervous. It might be a little patchy. I still have to dye all of these extensions too. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a late night. I'll see you guys once this is processed to show you guys the finished product. All right, you guys, I am back. Here is the finished result, but not like finished because I still have those little individual one clip wefts that are processing. I'm gonna let those sit overnight. It is now 1:20 in the morning. I still have to clean up all of my bowls, all of my towels, like literally I have stuff everywhere all over my desk. I also still have my hair dye shirt on. So I'm going to pop in tomorrow without makeup and show you what everything looks like clipped in and curled. Right now it looks a little disconnected here, so popping in those little one clip extensions are going to help blend everything out a lot better. Also, look at how good up here looks compared to these extensions. This is exactly why it's important to over direct when you're doing the prism technique. Making sure to bring all these pieces forward is what gives it that prismatic effect. Like these down here, I didn't over direct forward enough, so they're more like staggering lines, you know? It's gonna look fine when it's curled and the other two pieces are clipped in, so I will show you what that looks like tomorrow. But I just wanted to update you guys. Here's where we're at tonight. I will see you tomorrow without makeup on once everything's clipped in and curled. I am so exhausted, you guys. My whole entire body is aching right now. I wish I could show you the full result with like my full makeup, but you get the gist of what it's gonna look like, okay? Just picture me with makeup tomorrow when I pop in, okay? So here's that clip from tomorrow of what it's gonna look like once it's finally done. All right, you guys, here is the finished result curled. Look how gorgeous it is. I'm obsessed. I think this is like my favorite hair color I have ever done. In the clip, after I had blow dried it, I didn't seem that excited, but it's because I couldn't talk very loud and I was also so exhausted. Literally every inch of my body hurt from doing this and filming all day, but look at that. This is seriously my dream hair and this is my personality in hair and I love it so much and I cannot wait to play around with different styles. Look at it from the back. Yeah, she's cute. She is cute. That is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, I will leave a link to all the products I used in the description down below in case you want to check them out. Don't forget to check out my Instagram. The link to that is in the description down below. I post way more of my everyday life on there. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much and I will see you next time. Bye.